7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Friday, everybody. This is your PR princess, your timeless elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me on this Friday. You guys know we have a jam-packed episode because we have Forbidden Door and NXT Heatwave happening this weekend. But I am not alone on these predictions. I am very excited to have her back. Like me, she's a pageant girl. I always love to talk anything with pageants and wrestling. And it's always good to end the week on a Friday. And I have to give a shout out to Victoria.
Hey everyone.
How are you on this Friday?
I'm doing good. We are gearing up a lot. This weekend's a big wrestling weekend. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. We have lots of pageant stuff. So it's just going to be a full couple of days of all the things I love. I can't wait.
It's very interesting you said that because it is America Week that is happening in Vegas right now. And some people, a lot of our peeps, our pageant sisters, they're in Vegas right now because they're competing for major national titles. So it's kind of like a Super Bowl for us in a way.
And it's all and the best part is in both cases, we get, I think, some amazing outfits. We're going to get some really cool things. I love ring gear. It's one of my favorite parts of wrestling, which totally makes sense why I also love pageantry and all the outfits.
There you go. And definitely want to give a shout out to people in the chat. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to our producer from the future, Dylan. It is morning over in Australia. And Maria, we are going to get to Forbidden Door because, as we mentioned, we are doing both predictions a little bit later. But since we have a jam pack, we're just going to kick it off with SmackDown happening tonight from Dublin, Ireland. We are aware that it aired a little bit earlier, so please do not give us any spoilers. We are aware of that, especially when it's done internationally. I'm not sure if Honey Night SmackDown is happening, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed if it is happening at the top of the hour. But SmackDown will be continuing from Dublin, Ireland tonight, where they still continue their UK tour. They're on the road to Clash in Paris. And courtesy of Nick Aldis, because he made some announcements this past week on socials, John Cena will be in the house tonight after addressing what happened last week, and very curious what the GOAT has to say. We're also going to have R-Truth taking on Aleister Black one-on-one. It is finally going to happen one-on-one in the match. We're also going to have some tag team action happening tonight. We're going to have the Motor City Machine Guns taking on Mello Don't Miss 2-on-2, and you could expect a lot of shenanigans and mayhem to be happening. We're also going to have another set of tag team actions. The Street Profits taking on 2 members of the MFT. We're not sure which 2 members, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of shenanigans. And also be on the lookout for Sami Zayn close by. And we're also going to have Charlotte Flair taking on Piper Niven one-on-one. And all of this is happening on SmackDown tonight at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. on USA Network. And Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on what matches are you looking forward to seeing on SmackDown tonight.
I love Ron Killings. People will get sick of me talking about how much I think he's a national treasure. So excited to see him back in the ring. I feel like this is the first time we've seen him in a long time. I'm loving Charlotte and Alexa together. I think they're a great combo. I feel like Charlotte is having so much fun, and Piper will soak in the gaze of being back, closer to home for her, of course. So excited for those 2 for sure. And also, I'm curious to see what they're doing with Mello Don't Miss. I feel like it's going to end up being some more infighting with them. I'm not sure if they're getting ready to break them up or not, but The Miz is great. So anytime he's in the ring, I get excited. So those are the ones. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, obviously the ladies. I mean, of course, seeing Charlotte Flair go one-on-one with Piper Niven, I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte have become a very odd couple tag team. But I will say that it's very interesting. Not Courtney giving me the SmackDown preview straight. Well, Dylan, it was your lucky day because we have a jam-packed show. We got bold predictions happening. So, of course, we had to kick off with SmackDown in Ireland. But, of course, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, they have been like the oddest couple tag team. But it looks like they're going to have some new contenders with the Secret Service. Obviously, you're going to have Chelsea Green looking by and expect a lot of shenanigans in that match. Obviously, I'm excited for tag team wrestling because tag team wrestling I love. So I'm very excited to see the Street Profits take on the MFT. And as I said, Sami Zayn will be close by because he has issues with Sol Sikoa and he pinned him. He did pin him. So he is destined to have a future opportunity for the U.S. title. Very curious what John has to say. Also, very curious on what Cody and Drew McIntyre are going to do next because I know Drew left Cody in a massacre. So very curious on what's going to happen there and also getting a clear view on where we're going to go on the road to Clash in Paris. All this and more happening at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. on USA. And also, hopefully we get a Honey Night SmackDown tonight because I know she's going to see her guy, Aleister Black, facing off against Ron Killings, and she doesn't want to miss that. So, and yes, Boza, as I said, I had to get the other way sooner because we got bold predictions happening. If it was any other day, I would be fine with it, but we got bold predictions happening because we have two big PLEs happening. So that is your preview for SmackDown tonight. And this actually happened courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful. This is not a drill. Mercedes has belt number 9. Mercedes Moné won the Discovery Wrestling Scottish Women's Championship match by defeating Emerson Jane at Rev Pro Global Wars that happened in the UK. And this is actually happening because Forbidden Door is in London. So she got 9 belts. So, Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this. I mean, she's going in with 9 belts before her big match at Forbidden Door this weekend.
No one hate me. I think it's getting a little ridiculous looking. I get it. I get like the idea behind it. I do, and like what they're trying to build her into. But like at some point she has to start losing these belts. Right?
Actually, it's interesting because I've been saying this actually not losing the belts because I've been saying this if you follow me on my watch-alongs. Because I said sooner or later she's going to have to go unhinged because I don't care if she has 9 or 10 belts. She did lose at All In Texas clean. And you hear that said? She lost clean to my client, Toni Storm. So I'm just saying she did lose it. But I'm just waiting for her to be unhinged because I can tell you she is still salty from that loss. Her and Athena have an alliance where they do have a common enemy in Toni Storm and Alex Windsor. So it's only a matter of time. And also with the fact that we're going to talk about this in both predictions a little bit later because for me, so far, she's almost at breaking Jade's record. I mean, I can't see her dropping the TBS title right before she breaks Jade's record. I mean, if she does break Jade's record, then that's fine. But I don't know. I mean, it's always full of surprises. I mean, there are a few times AEW has surprised us out of the blue. But we shall see what happens. I will tell you, it's going to be a lot of luggage coming back to the States with all 9 belts.
Right?
But
and it's trying to get those through security.
But I will say that, and I mean, people want to put it on Tony Khan. I'm like, technically not Tony Khan, to be honest with you. Some of the other wrestling promotions, I mean, they booked her, and I mean, is it good publicity for them? Possibly, because you have one of the most influential and best women's wrestlers that's making her out of the world. She is the highest paid woman in wrestling. So you can't deny her that of wrestling. But like I said, we are going to do bold predictions a little bit later on the show, and we shall see on that. But congratulations to Mercedes Moné winning belt number 9. Belt number 9. And also a little bit of breaking news. We were talking about this on Wednesday, but it was official on WWE's website that their PLEs will debut on ESPN platforms in the US beginning September 20th with WWE WrestlePalooza in Indianapolis. It will be streaming exclusively on ESPN and on Netflix internationally. And we have been talking about this back and forth with the deal that happened between ESPN and WWE, but it is official from WWE's website. And Victoria, I know we talked a little bit about this, but just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this and how are we feeling?
All I have to say is whoever figures out how to use your cable to get this ESPN app to work for free, help a girl out and send it to me anywhere you can on social, because I have to figure this out. It's just, we'll have to figure it out, right? It's just one of those things. It's kind of annoying to me a little bit. I really do I got used to the Peacock deal, right? Everything one place, be lazy, but I think it'll be interesting to see. And of course, they did announce also that Pat McAfee will be part of the show.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's been announced this past week. Pat McAfee, and I have cable too, so I have to figure out how this is going to work. Because so far, we did see some of the cable networks that you can get it. We're just waiting a confirmation from a few other ones like Dish TV and Comcast. Since I have Comcast, I'm still waiting on it pending, but hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll happen. But there is a lot of mixed feelings. Pat McAfee, obviously, I would not be surprised if members from the Indianapolis Colts, depending on their schedule, if they don't have to go on the road because it is football season, I'm pretty sure they will be there on site attending the event. Obviously, of course, we know Pat McAfee does College Game Day, so of course he's going to be promoting it like crazy along with his show, and you could probably see it on SportsCenter.
And we might get some of the Colts cheerleaders. One of my friends used to be a Colts cheerleader, so we might, if we don't get the players, we might get them, maybe, like coming out with Pat. I feel like they've done that in the past. That could be fun.
I mean, it could be fun. We could see some of the cheerleaders, and we could see the mascot of the Colts. We could see the mascot. So all this is happening. There's just so much happening in WWE, but so much. And we do have a few milestones that actually happened today. 10 years ago, Bayley, Sasha Banks, I know she's now Mercedes Moné, but she was formerly known as Sasha Banks. They had one of the best women's matches at NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn, New York. This was on the weekend of SummerSlam, and they delivered one of the best matches in New York. Obviously, Bayley won the NXT women's title, and then we had all of the 4 horsewomen out in the ring together. And Victoria, I just wanted to see if you were able to watch this match and just wanted to get your quick thoughts on reminiscing on what you thought about this match, the aftermath, and Bayley winning the title.
I mean, I love Bayley and I love this moment for her. I went back and watched it because, one, it was a great match, absolutely. But also, I think Bayley, of all the, the 4 of the horsewomen, has always kind of been the lesser, thought about one. I feel like sometimes I even forget she was one of the 4. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think her career trajectory has been so different than everyone else. So for her to have that moment too, I just love getting to see that. I was there at WrestleMania when she won her title. So I just love big moments for Bayley. And kind of interesting that happened 10 years ago. And there's a new direction Bayley's going in right now. And I'm very interested to see where that will lead. But I didn't get to see any of the live stream they did. So that I'm a little bummed about.
Well, I actually saw it. Well, I didn't see it live in person, but I did see it when I had Peacock. And I remember that was actually one of the first times I watched NXT, their entire PLE. It was this match and also Kevin Owens taking on Finn Balor. First time I ever saw the Demon. It was so good. And also seeing the women's title match, it really made me realize why I fall in love with women's wrestling. And those two did it. Delivered. They told a story, and also the aftermath, seeing all four of these ladies that really helped revolutionize the game for women's wrestling. And I'm very happy that TK was able to create this podcast of Women's Wrestling Talk, where we highlight women from not just WWE and AEW, but from all different promotions, all independent scenes, everyone, even like people that are training right now. And it makes me happy that women's wrestling is still alive and kicking, because obviously we know NXT has the most loaded and best women's roster. Obviously WWE is thriving. TNA, they're still working on it because they've had a few hiccups, but they're still kind of thriving on it. Same thing with AEW, is figuring out their identity and what they want out of their women's division and vision. But
and all you have to do, Tony, is hire Courtney. Hire her. She knows how to run with this ball.
This is going to be the occurring theme. Hashtag hire Courtney, Tony Khan. Hire Courtney. That's the ongoing theme for today. But this was definitely a milestone match and one of the best ones. And Jeffrey, you're right. NXT has come a long way, and that's why they are one of the best stacked and loaded women's division, because they open and they close, and even with PLEs, they main evented a few times with the women. So very happy on that. So kudos to Sasha and Bayley for helping pave the way. But we have another milestone that actually happened yesterday. So 25 years ago today, on Monday Night Raw, I know everybody talks about Lita and Trish being the first ladies to main event, but we have to go way back a bit to 2000. Lita versus Stephanie McMahon for the women's title. And I know people remember that match because in one corner you had Triple H and Kurt Angle with Stephanie. The other corner you had the Hardys with Lita. And you had The Rock be the special guest referee. And that was when Lita won her first, back then it was WWF, women's championship match. And that was the final Monday before that SummerSlam, where we had the first TLC match. And Victoria, like me, you are a huge fan of Lita, and just wanted to get your thoughts on this historic milestone. What do you remember about this match? And just seeing these ladies main event Monday Night Raw.
It was so cool. I remember watching it live. I was a huge Lita fan from the moment she came out. If you go back and watch it, she is so over. I mean, if you think this happened in August, she had debuted in February, and she was so over already with the crowd. It was such a cool match. I can't imagine being that new in a company and being like, yeah, you're going to work with the boss's daughter, who actually really doesn't wrestle that much, and like, just don't hurt her and make her look good. Like, that was a lot of pressure. It was very interesting because you did have all the outside forces. You had The Rock. And one of my favorite moments is actually, if you watch the video, there's no clean moment of her in the ring with the belt. And she said in interviews, it's because she was in there with all these huge stars, The Rock, Triple H, you had Kurt Angle, like all main eventers. And she was like, they told her to get out of the ring because there was an angle afterwards. So they never actually got a shot of her holding up the belt on Monday Night Raw. They did it on the entrance where the Titantron was instead. So they actually didn't get that shot until that Thursday night on SmackDown of her actually in the ring with the belt. So very, I have lots of inside facts because she's my favorite, but such an iconic moment. And yeah, I think it's forgotten about because we focus so much on the Trish Lita match, which makes sense because I think it was the first time that a women's match main evented on its own versus this being because, well, we need to figure out a way to fit this angle in. And I'm sure they also figured like Stephanie didn't really need the belt, so they wanted to get it off of her somehow, and they used, you know, it to their advantage. But very big moment for women's wrestling. So 125 years ago, 110 years ago, what do we think could happen this year or this weekend maybe?
Oh my goodness, there's so many angles that you could work with, but unfortunately, I did not get to watch this at present time. But I have heard this moment float about, and I did watch clips of it, and even JR's commentary. That was a chef's kiss right there with JR's commentary. It was just so good, and it was very interesting too. A lot of people said that rivalry was underrated because you have to think during that period, women's wrestling. I mean, I don't want to say it was there, but it was kind of like not an afterthought, but we kind of know who was there. Like Ivory, Jackie, Terry was there, and it really sucks because Ivory and Jackie have wrestling, but it was like who is able to get the crowd in and just make it stand out. And this is where Lita comes in because she came on with Essa Rios that same year, and then they feuded with Chyna and Eddie, and then a couple months later she paired off with the Hardys, who at that time was and still is one of the most popular and influential tag teams. Like, it doesn't matter what arena. The minute the Hardy Boys music hits, the crowd went wild. And for me, it was really exciting for Lita because I know she talks about this many, many times. As you pointed out, yes, Trish and Lita was the first women's main event match because you didn't have a lot of top guys. You didn't have a lot of top guys backing up, and it was just the two of them. And plus, it was one of the longest women's rivalries during that period because Trish has fought Victoria, she fought Jazz, she fought Jackie, but that was one of her longest mainstay rivals. And also having an opportunity to have The Rock, who was the then WWF champion at that time, be the guest referee, that was very huge. And also the Hardys as well, because like even though they weren't on the main event stage, they were still popular with the fans and also really on that superstar status, and especially going into it. So I gotta give kudos to both of these matches for their milestones, and it's really important not to forget about this match. I mean, sure, you want to remember Trish and Lita. A lot of people were influenced on that, but you cannot forget about this match. You cannot forget some of the elements that happened. And also, you can't forget because this was the title that she won right before that SummerSlam. So you cannot forget that moment. But awesome milestone moments ahead of women's wrestlings, and we do thank them for paving the way.
Yeah. So WWE, give us a Lita 25th anniversary belt already. Every time they post the Trish one, I'm like, where's my Lita one? Where's my Lita one?
And Lita has had many iconic moments. And also with the fact, too, she was also feuding with Trish during that time when Trish was with Test and Albert. I just want to point that out. So we've had many ones. And we're talking about Mercedes Moné. So we did talk about belts. And I wanted to put this article in because this was a very interesting article. And thankfully, Seth is not here for this because he seems to be the biggest advocate for Mercedes Moné. John Alba from the Takedown on Sports Illustrated. Mercedes Moné believes women are ready to main event an AEW pay-per-view with an exclusive interview with John Alba. Obviously, Mercedes had many standout matches, and she did come up short. But speaking with the Takedown on Sports Illustrated, the AEW TBS champion said she looks back at the All-In match fondly and believes it had a major impact on the perception of women's wrestling in AEW. She did give high praise to my client, Toni Storm. Toni Storm is just undeniable, amazing, incredible, and that was legit one of my favorite matches in my whole entire career. Just that moment, the feeling, just the entrances too. I feel like we created so much magic, and we had, I can say, the greatest women's match in AEW history. I really feel like it just opened the eyes of so many people that women can do absolutely anything and everything. And then she kind of goes on to say, I feel like our next big goal is to have a women main event, a pay-per-view. that's my dream and my goal for us. I feel like we left fans wanting so much more, and I just care so much about our product in the women's division. And she also added, so that's a match that holds so high in my career and one of my favorite matches that I ever have. And also she kind of goes on talking about this, saying that women in the main event of an AEW pay-per-view could happen sooner than you think. She quoted, "I don't think we're far at all." She said, you know, I was really praying, manifesting that All In would be me versus Toni in the main event. But hopefully when I get my rematch with her, that's the main event. She would add that if that doesn't come to pass, she would love to have that match against Chris Statlander or Willow Nightingale. Victoria, you want to go first? Because
yeah, so I think I don't disagree with her. I think that anytime, if you have the roster and you have the story that's going to draw, women should main event a PLE. That's just like, I think that spot needs to go to the league that people are the most interested in watching. I personally think it would probably be with your girl. Like, I think Toni Storm is just so over and people are so want to see her. I could see you building a story where she main evented a PLE. Maybe with Mercedes Moné, but just thinking about the people who get, like, the crowd wants to see the most, I feel like she gets such huge pops that makes more sense to me. So all the, you know, Mercedes Moné people are gonna come for me now, but I just feel like I could see, and I think they were getting there at certain points with some of Toni's storylines that they could put her on as the main event, and I think they still could.
Well, I'm going to pull the Band-Aid off, and I'm just going to say it because they did have an opportunity to main event. You could have main evented during Revolution with Toni Storm and Mariah May, because that was absolute cinema. And this is no shade towards Mercedes. I get you and Toni wanted to main event, but the only way you could have not main evented All In is if Moxley and Hangman did not have a Texas death match. That was the only way I could see that happening, because the minute I knew it was Texas death match, I was like, oh, okay, now we know where this is going to go. But Victoria, this is before you came on, but we talked about this many times. I've talked about this in my watch along many times regarding the women's division. I do want to see a women's match main event, but I would like for it to be executed and for it to tell a story. And also, if TK was here, is it going to sell? Is it going to sell? Is it going to get people's eyes driven and everything else? This is no disrespect to Mercedes, because obviously, like I said, I would not be surprised if she did main event. But I do think there is other women within the opportunity, because even if you don't have that main event spot, why don't you endorse somebody within that women's division who you do see could be in that main event spot? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing my client Toni Storm, but there are so many angles with this, and I am thinking about All In Wembley Stadium next year, because I just don't want it to be on a pay-per-view that's forced and it's like you got 5-6 weeks on how to do it. So I think this is something, as I mentioned, Toni really needs to think about. I mean, for me, if I had to pick a match that could tell a story, and those that we will talk about, Toni and Athena. I mean, obviously with Boza, if the lights out steel cage match didn't happen, I could see that main eventing, but we shall see on that. But I think if there's a possible main event that I could see that can execute and that can draw a lot of eyes, especially with Wembley next year, I could really see Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm. And the reason why, it's not because they're my clients, but people do not know Toni and Jamie have a very unorthodox story that needs to be finished. And also with the fact, too, Jamie Hayter has not wrestled at Wembley Stadium since AEW's been there. The first year that they were there, she was hurt. She came back the second year, unfortunately, on the Power Hour. She came on the pre-show with Saraya. And it's like, you have a story in place, and especially with the fact that she has not wrestled at Wembley Stadium, and it is her home country. So that is also a potential story right there. And heck, it may not have to involve the AEW Women's title. You could just give them a one-on-one match because the story there says it all. Dylan, really?
Leave Jamie comments.
Leave Jamie out of this. But for me, I mean, if there's a potential, I could see Jamie versus Tony main eventing because they do have a story to tell. Heck, I wouldn't mind if Mercedes and Willow run it back because Willow did not get a rematch for her TBS title, by the way. I really want that to happen. But I mean, honestly, I would love to see Jamie and Tony just main event for All in Wembley Stadium. I mean, I get with that. They're going to try to see with Will Ospreay main eventing, but it would just be so cool to see Jamie and Tony just close out because there's a lot of elements to that story. I do think it could work and also kind of build up into next year. So, but
go back, Tony, if you want a really great main event, want to build a main event with women for a PLE, you should hire Courtney.
That's gonna be the occurring theme, ladies and gentlemen. Just hire. Yeah, exactly. Willow. Like I said, if it's not Jamie and Tony, I wouldn't mind Willow Nightingale. And yeah, Bose, I'm still waiting for Willow and Marina Shafir to meet one-on-one because that didn't happen at all in Texas, and I was very upset. So, but there's gonna be a lot more conversation with this. You're gonna hear more about it on my watch along. You'll probably hear more about it on my watch along for Forbidden Door because this is gonna be a conversation that is not going to end. And speaking of, well, Forbidden Door this weekend, we do have Collision tomorrow, and just interviews. Isla Dawn. This was actually posted on Tony Khan socials and AEW socials today that Isla Dawn will be making her debut against Megan Bayne tomorrow on Collisions. But Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this and how you feel that Isla Dawn is going to be making her debut tomorrow on AEW.
I'm excited for this. I'm happy she's landed someplace because I was kind of bummed when they released her. I felt like they kind of cut her too short. There's a lot more she could have done. So I'm very excited that she has a new home, a new place to work. And I think she's I just feel like she's a great addition to any locker room. So I think this is going to be fabulous. I can't wait to watch it.
Me too. I'm very excited on how she's going to do with Megan Bayne, the Megasis tomorrow. Obviously Penelope Ford's going to be in the corner, so you can expect a lot of shenanigans that will play out, especially with the returning Harley Cameron that came back last week. So congratulations to Isla Dawn. Very looking forward to see her debut tomorrow on AEW Collision. And just a little bit of quick news. AEW is coming back to Australia. We did get news today that on one of the social channels for Australia, Tag Sport, they actually posted a little teaser on social that they posted a little bit of a teaser that AEW will be returning to Australia next year. This is just a little bit disrespect, Dylan.
You're choosing violence tonight.
Well, actually, for the record, they did post a graphic of Kyle Fletcher, but for this one, and it's not because she's my client, it's just because it's women's wrestling talk. I mean, I have to post it, but Victoria, this is a little thing here because Dylan's from Australia. He doesn't think Toni Storm is actually Australian because she was born in New Zealand, she wrestled in the UK, and she has a British accent. He doesn't think that she's really Australian.
Dylan. Just accept her for who she is.
I think deep down he likes Toni Storm. I think he does like Toni Storm. He just doesn't want to admit it. But AEW will be coming back to Australia. And Victoria, I just want to get your quick thoughts on how you feel of them coming back for the second time to Australia.
I excited, was a little surprised. I wasn't sure how well they did financially last time because they had to switch venues and there were some other things that happened. So I'm hoping they worked out some of the kinks from the first time. I know there was like an issue with the ring, like getting the right ring size or something. So I'm hoping that like the next, like second time through will be bigger and better. And, you know, I think it could be a really awesome show. And Australia's a place getting some love lately from wrestling companies. And I love that because I feel like it seems so far away when I was a kid. Like I could never imagine watching a wrestling show in Australia. On the downside, I really don't like waking up at like 4 a.m. Sorry, Dylan. I know you have to do it all the time, but I need a lot of coffee to get through a wrestling show live that early.
Tony Storm was great. If it wasn't for her, then the women's. Well, to be fair, Dylan, I mean, obviously with Tony Storm, but it did get eyes when Dr. Britt Baker first came to AEW. But I think Tony Storm took the keys and just ran with it. But I understand. But obviously, I'm very excited that they are coming back to Australia. Seeing what happened at Grand Slam and also the reception of the crowd. I was very happy to do a watch along for Grand Slam in Australia. The crowd went wild with Australia, and I'm very happy they are coming back again to the land down under, and very curious on what matches they're going to play. I mean, outside of Tony, who Dylan doesn't think is from actually Australia. So, oh, you did.
Over.
He does this a lot because he knows I love Tony Storm. She's the woman that got me into AEW. But yeah, I still love my producer from the future. But of course, we're going to see Tony. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Kyle Fletcher, Jay White, hopefully Buddy Matthews when he gets healed up from his ankle injury. Lots of stuff happening. But congratulations to AEW because they're continuing to make their mark on the international market. And speaking of that, because we've been talking about the boat a lot this past week, we were talking about the boat. And she actually had a very interesting story that I needed to share with you. So this was actually on a recent episode of Bustin' Open Radio, where Natalia opened up about her passion for the Natty character, touting that she built that persona by herself. She quoted and saying, "I'm so passionate about Natty, and I'm so passionate about what I built alone. I built Natty alone. I didn't have any help building her. This isn't a diss to WWE. This isn't a diss to anyone. This is just me speaking from the heart. I've worked on her alone. I didn't wait for anybody to come to me with an idea. I didn't wait for the machine to get behind it. I just wanted to build her and show everyone. Sometimes it's so much easier to show people. I've been in WWE for a long time, and I'm telling you, you cannot wait for other people to hand your shit. You cannot wait for the writers to come up with a grandiose idea, or for Triple H to be like, hey, I was thinking they have so much going on. The company is moving so fast. Triple H has got like 18 jobs. He's now got a job at the White House. He's the busiest person I ever met in my life next to Vince McMahon. Thankfully, he's young and he's energetic and he's able to do all of it. But I'm not going to wait for him to come up with a perfect idea for me. To me, those moments, you've got to find inspiration yourself. Nobody knows Natty better than Natty knows Natty.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Let her roll. Let her like bring this character out. Everything I've seen when she is Natty is so amazing. I want to see this side of her on WWE TV. I think it would be fabulous. So just like, I love it. I love that she created it. I feel like she really has owned it and knows who it is. And I want to see her. Like, come on, let's see Natty.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
What I had to say about Natty, because she created that character herself. And also, I really want to see her come out to play. And both of you are right. It's all about timing. It's all about timing and making sure the execution is spot on. And for me, I would like to see her really go at it. And for me, I wouldn't mind seeing her come out just a little bit because, you know, of course she's good friends with Nikki Bella, obviously with Maxine, because I could imagine if, God forbid, if Becky did something gruesome to Maxine, I think that's when it starts to come out a little bit with Natty. I could see that persona happening a little bit and just really do like a split personality in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But agreed, both sides. Like, if she's gonna have this personality, I wouldn't mind seeing her. Excuse me, I wouldn't mind seeing her get the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I don't see why not, but I want to see this version of Natty, the person that doesn't take no BS from anybody, that just walks all over. But I want it to be done in an organic, timely fashion. I just don't want it to be forced. So,
absolutely. Again, I think it's on the thing. Let's see Natty. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Let's see Natty Neidhart cook. We've seen Natalia cook, but it's nice to see Natty. It's nice to see her cook.
Yeah, and I don't know, for all she's done and how hard she has worked for that company, how many women she's put over. I want, like, she's closer to the end of her career, right, than the beginning at this point. I want her to have like some type of beastly, amazing run, and I feel like the Natty character can do that for her.
Yep, 8 months in her duty as a wrestler. Like, she wrestled in GCW. She's wrestled in NWA. She's wrestling in the independent scene. So we shall see on that. And yes, Jeffrey, don't mess with the cat. She's a cat lady. She's a cat lady. But hopefully we do get to see this version of Natty Neidhart hopefully soon. Sooner than you think. But just some quick news. This was actually an interesting story that actually came out today. We're talking about Busted Open. So on a recent open episode of Busted Open After Dark, WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray gave his detailed thoughts on the recent announcement that WWE will be running a PLE called WrestlePalooza on the same night as AEW's All Out pay-per-view in Toronto, Canada. He discussed whether the move was petty, if WWE views AEW as competition, and draws parallels to the historic Monday Night Wars. He quoted in saying he quoted pretty much saying, reminds me of back in the day when WCW put on the Clash of the Champions for free to go head to head with WrestleMania. And he then posed a question to his listeners about WWE's motivation. How do you feel about the WWE running a show opposite All Out? Do you think the WWE considers AEW competition? I know they say they haven't, but is running a show right up against All Out the WWE basically saying, yeah, they are competition, or are they trying to squash the competition before the competition becomes competition? And then Bully Ray offered his own perspective on the matter, saying that he does not believe WWE sees AEW as a direct threat at this moment, but is instead taking preventative measures to halt their growth. I don't think that the WWE currently looks at AEW as competition, he stated, but I don't think the WWE is going to give AEW an opportunity to become competition.
I mean, I usually agree with Bully. I mean, like, honestly, a lot of the stuff he says I think makes sense. I think sometimes how his mind works as far as storytelling and what he would do to make things better, he always surprises me, and I usually agree with him. I don't always agree with him, though. In this case, I don't think WWE views them as like a WCW, right? Like during the Monday Night Wars. But I think they're keeping an eye on them, and I think there's concern about like what will happen. I also, quite honestly, from a fan perspective, think that they're starting to, we talked about this before, they're pricing out a lot of just regular wrestling fans with what they're charging for tickets, and that's going to bring people, I think, closer to AEW. If you want to go to a wrestling show, I mean, you don't want to spend $30,000.
I'm always in for competition. I never had a problem with friendly competition. But this is really interesting because you kind of compare for the Monday Night Wars. Because obviously we all remember the Monday Night Wars between WCW, Monday Night Raw. You had to flip through channels and then not think what's what, like what is what. But sometimes it's really funny not knowing your own competition, especially when we got news that yesterday ESPN took down all of the content within AEW, which that surprised, which at first it wasn't a coincidence for me because I didn't want to worry about it too much. But also with the fact too, I mean, AEW's been around for 6 years, since 2019, and they're kind of, you know, they're continuing to grow. They're trying to get partnerships. We already did talk about the sponsorship with the partnership with White Castle that happened this past week. And also with the fact too, it's very interesting that they're starting the ESPN deal so soon, because it's just something that has, and I mean, it's not surprisingly, it's been an recurring theme that's been happening, that WWE has always counter programming. So it's not a coincidence, because obviously we know wrestling is super hot right now, and WWE is like trying to be the global juggernaut as it is when a professional wrestling. But I think this is one of those things that AEW just needs to stay in their lane and keep doing what they're doing. I mean, of course, they got rid of some of the content that's happening in ESPN, and that's just something to really think about. And also for that too, and I mentioned this too, that ESPN also acquired NFL Network. And people do not know that Tony also works on the football side of NFL. He's a chief football strategy officer for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's pretty much they kind of have to stay in their lane, just keep doing what they need to do. And also with the fact too, if I was Tony Khan, hey, I would still appear on the Rich Eisen show. I would still appear on NFL Network, even though ESPN took all of my content. Just stay in your lane and just continue in doing that, because I do not want them to die. I want all wrestling companies to thrive and well. So when was the last time they... I mean, if we're going to talk about 1999, I mean, I don't think the Jaguars have ever won a Super Bowl yet. I know they've been to the AFC Championship 1999 and 20... I hope I mastered it right. 2016? No.
Listen, let's not talk about football teams that have never won a Super Bowl. I am a Bills fan over here, okay? So let's not pick on them for that. It happens sometimes.
I mean, it does happen. I'm also a Dolphins fan too, so I'm still waiting on my playoff game. So I'm still waiting for the playoff game. So, but like I said, AEW. I mean, I'm going to continue talking about this on my watch-alongs on Forbidden Door, because I feel like this is going to be a continued conversation. But like I said, Tony Khan, just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Do your work. Just continue thriving. Make AEW the best possible it is. So that's all you can do. Just don't mention Falcons in New York. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Well, on this update from Will Ospreay. So on AEW Dynamite, he mentioned, not this past week, but a couple weeks ago, Will Ospreay provided another update regarding his impending neck injury, confirming that he will be undergoing surgery after Forbidden Doors pay-per-view. He does not have a date yet for the procedure or a time for it to return to the ring. And speaking with Screen Off Script in an interview, Ospreay discussed his impending hiatus, quoting, "Yeah, I will have to be going in for surgery after Forbidden Door. We haven't got an exact date, and we don't know a time frame to come back, as nerve-wracking as it is. Everybody is comfortable with me going into this match." And then Ospreay was open about the specifics of his injury that he sustained at All In, Texas. And he talked about it in a separate interview with Sports Illustrated, The Takedown, detailing the diagnosis, saying, "I am compromised. I've got a few herniated herniated disc pushing against my spinal cord, which is affecting a couple of my nerves, but I can do stuff and I can perform one last time before I need to go get it all corrected. The surgeon even told me that it's not going to get any worse. It just needs to be corrected. And Ospreay stated that the AEW medical team would not allow him to compete if there was a significant risk. But he's determined to have, quote unquote, one last time as himself in front of his hometown crowd in London this weekend.
I'm still very shocked he's going through with this, knowing how, I mean, again, I'm sure medical would not let him do this if they don't feel comfortable with him doing this, but neck injuries can be so like serious to a career, serious to your quality of life. I hope he gets through the match fine. I hope that the surgery goes really well. I hope he has an amazing recovery from the surgery. But it's definitely scary to me anytime there's a neck injury involved. And also for AEW television, that's a huge vacuum you're going to have to fill without him as part of your show for a little while.
Yeah. I never want to see anybody get seriously hurt because we have seen Ospreay get hurt. We have seen Swerve dealing with an injury. We also have Dustin Rhodes that's going to be out for a while after undergoing knee surgery on his two knees. And also with the fact, too, a report broke out that a few of the people that will be participating in the Lights Out match are still injured, with the exception of Darby. I mean, wrestlers can be stubborn, but we also want to make sure their health comes first. It's going to be a huge void because if Will Ospreay, Swerve, and many other top stars have to really take time off for injury, this is where Tony Khan and the rest of AEW had to figure out who is going to be your top star. Like, who are going to be your top stars leading to that next level? So it's very important to think about. I mean, of course, we do have Kyle Fletcher. We have Takeshita, Brody King. I mean, Bandino, even though he's the reigning Ring of Honor champion, he does pop into AEW television. Mark Briscoe is another one. So, because Hangman and MJF can't do it by themselves, and Darby, you just can't put all three of them. So this is where they're going to have to rely on some of the other pieces that they can work with and really step up to the plate. And even I said with our women's division, because we do have some ladies that are hurt. We have some ladies that are hurt, and some of them have taken the reins, like Queen Aminata, Alex Windsor, along with many others. So this is going to be very something to think about in the future, and especially I am thinking about next year for Wembley Stadium, because like, who is going to be involved in what storylines leading up coming back? I'm sure Alex probably told him that too, because wrestlers can be stubborn. They can be stubborn. They want to go through it, but people have to understand wrestlers are human beings like you and me. They have to deal with serious injuries and making sure your health comes first with everything, and also making sure life outside of wrestling as well. But
I mean, Nosy is here too if Adam Copeland has talked to him at all, because Adam had those injuries, then he had the surgery, and the surgery ended up not going well. So hopefully he got some really solid. I mean, like, hopefully medical gave him some solid advice, but he is someone who came back from a pretty insane neck injury right there.
And I'll give you another one, Bryan Danielson.
Yes, that's right too.
Yep, Bryan Danielson. So I think that's also, Jeffrey, Bryan Danielson too. I mean, that's another thing to think about as well. But we do wish Will Ospreay a speedy recovery after Forbidden Door, because we want to make sure wrestlers are healthy, 100% and ready to go. But before we get into bold predictions, because we have NXT Heatwave and we do have Forbidden Door, we want to give a happy birthday to one of the best tag teams out there, the Usos. They turned 40 years old today. Jay and Jimmy celebrating their birthday. We know Big Jim had a big week. Him and Naomi announced they're having a baby. Of course, main event Jay still doing his thing, getting ready for Clash in Paris. So wishing a happy birthday to both of them. And Victoria, do you have any memories of the Usos? Do you have a favorite match or a favorite promo that they did?
You know, the one that's always used it for a meme, every time I see it, it just giggles when it's like, you ain't Cole, you ain't right, you ain't but they are such a prolific tag team. I will say, because one of my favorite tag teams in the world, in the history of wrestling, is of course the New Age Outlaws. And so I think when they came back and got to work with the Usos was really cool. It was very much like a passing of the torch moment. So that always will stick in my head, to get to see those four in the ring together.
Yes, obviously they had a memorable rivalry with the New Day, because that really showed both of those tag teams on it. And I did love, because I think they did have an interaction with my other favorite tag team, the Hardys. So that was also a memorable moment too. But just seeing them really kind of take it to that level, especially in tag team wrestling, and also the importance of importance of tag team wrestling in the professional wrestling space, because you and I both know tag team wrestling is always so memorable. And also with the fact too, it's just making yourself stand out from the crowd, deliver memorable rivalries. And SmackDown Penitentiary. Oh my goodness. That was an interesting moment, but they they did deliver so much in tag team. Just seeing them grow up from like when they started off embracing their heritage. Also, another moment was them dancing with their dad, Rikishi, in the center of the ring. That was a memorable moment too.
I forgot about that. Yes. Aw, happy birthday.
But yeah, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Jimmy and Jay Uso. I'm sure tonight they will be celebrating on SmackDown tonight live in Dublin. But want to wish you guys a happy, healthy, and safe birthday. But since we got all of our top news out of the way, as I mentioned, we got bold predictions happening. We got NXT Heatwave and we have Forbidden Door, and we're just going to kick it off with NXT Heatwave happening this Sunday in Massachusetts. Obviously, of course, we have the Juggernaut, Jordynne Grace, taking on the Glamour, Blake Monroe, one-on-one. Victoria, who do you have in this match?
So I have Blake winning. I think they're trying to build her up, and I feel like this would be a huge win for her to kind of keep building her. So that's my prediction. What about you?
For me, I mean, I always try not to bet against the Juggernaut because I love Jordynne Grace. She has so much to offer, and this has been really an interesting rivalry with her. But sooner or later, she's going to have to move to the main roster sooner than you think. But I am going to go with Blake Monroe for the win, and just continuing building her up and seeing where this goes. But yeah, I'm going to continue. I'm getting Blake Monroe for the win. That's who I'm picking. We also have a mixed tag team match. Ethan Page and Chelsea Green taking on Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele.
You know, I'm just completely going with who I like in this one. We're going Chelsea and Ethan. I just kind of adore them both.
I mean, Chelsea and Ethan have been very entertaining for Canada. They represented Canada so well. But I'm picking Tavion and Tyra May. I would love to see Tyra May pick up a big win on a PLE. Tavion Heights going solo. And this was like the unexpected mixed tag team that nobody saw coming. So very happy to see the both of them. But I am picking Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele for the win. And we also have Hank and Tank for the NXT Tag Team Champions. And they will be taking on two members of Dark State. We don't know who the two members are.
Yeah, I'm going with Dark State here. I don't know if they're ready to take him off of Hank and Tank yet, but I just feel like the possibilities of who it could be, I just going with Dark State. I just feel it. I feel like it's a new movement for a tag team there.
I know people are picking Dark State. I'm going with my guys, Hank and Tank. I think these guys need to retain. I love those guys since the minute they came on. I'm happy they're tag team champions. I love Hank and Tank, so I got to go with them. I can't bet against those guys. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we have a triple threat match. The winner gets the #1 contenders match for the NXT Women's title. We have Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, and Lola Vice in a triple threat match. So, Victoria, who do you think is going to walk out as the next #1 contender?
I love Lola Vice. I really do. And they just re-signed her. Yeah, I'm going to go with her just because I like her.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Seth, I hope you're watching this because I am going to pick Lola Vice as well. I love Kalani. Jada Parker's been doing her thing, but I'm going to pick Lola Vice. I think it's time for her to get some gold. It's time. And I wouldn't mind seeing her get another opportunity for the NXT Women's title. She did amazing work at AAA. You can't go wrong with what she's done. And also really is going to be another draw when the partnership comes along. I would not be shocked if she's involved in the next AAA PLE that's happening in September. So I'm going to pick Lola Vice for the win. And also we have the NXT Championship match, Oba Femi taking on Javon Evans.
We talked about this a little bit, I think, Wednesday night. I don't know. I feel like Oba needs a more dominant title reign, but I think they're going to do Evans. So I'm going with Evans.
I would pick the young OG, but I think I'm going with Oba Femi to retain. I'm going with Oba Femi to retain. I want him to continue. And also, the one thing, and Seth kind of said this on Wednesday, just build new contenders for him. Don't give him the same contenders, because then you kind of recycle a bit. Like, give him some fresh new contenders. I mean, Joe Hendry is starting to pop up on NXT television. Also, whoever's on the TNA roster that hasn't faced off against Oba Femi, bring them on down to NXT. Outside of Moose, or heck, people that you haven't used in catering from the main roster.
Could you imagine them bringing R-Truth down?
That would be great. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. But yeah, I'm picking Oba Femi to retain his title. And we have one more final match. We have the triple threat match for the NXT Women's title. JC Jane taking on Ash by Elegance and Masha Slamovich.
I think it's JC Jane. Sorry, I think she retains. I don't think they're done with her yet.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Masha, I can't see JC losing in this match in particular. Obviously, there is going to be a lot of shenanigans outside the ring because you have Fatal Influence. You also have everybody from the Ash by Elegance brand outside of ringside. And also, they're going to continue possibly building up more Fallon Henley turns on JC Jane. It's bound to happen soon, but somewhere down the line. But I'm picking JC Jane to retain. But this wraps up NXT Heatwave happening this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe there may be a watch along this week. I don't know. But that wraps up NXT Heatwave just to get it out the way. And we're going to switch gears because we do have another PLE happening over across the pond in London, England with AEW Forbidden Door this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And there will be a watch along for Forbidden Door this weekend. So if you guys have not been following, this was supposed to be Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. But if you watch AEW Dynamite and during my watch along, we saw the return of Killswitch, Luchasaurus, whatever you want to call him. He made his triumphant return, and he will be facing off against, I'm sorry, I have to call them Edge and Christian.
I know, it's so hard.
I have to call them, I'm sorry. So
Adam and Christian.
Yeah, I got to call them Edge and Christian. I just can't call them by their names. So, but Victoria, who do you have winning?
It has to be Edge and Christian. I'm sorry. The nostalgia, the everything. Unless they're planning like a really long program between these two teams, give the people what they want. And they want Edge and Christian to win. You know they do.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Edge and Christian for the win. I just can't. Shut up. Look, Dylan, their mama called them Edge and Christian. I will call them Edge and Christian. Damn it. I'm still gonna call them that. And also, as I said, Boza, they're going to set up with FTR and the Weasel Stokely because the next PLE will be in Toronto. And we know who's from Toronto. So I'm picking these guys for the win. Obviously, it's nice to see Killswitch. I still call him Luchasaurus back because he had a very serious health issue where we almost didn't think he was going to make it. But thankfully, I'm happy he is 100%. He's ready to go. He looks good. And very happy to see his first PLE match. And also a little fact in too, I just realized something. The last time Edge and Christian wrestled in a pay-per-view together was back in 2001 at Invasion. Let that sink in. Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. So
where did all the time go?
Where has the time go? Because I had to look up the last time they faced off in a pay-per-view together, and I was like, oh my God, it was Invasion. Because after that, they feuded with each other in Unforgiven that year.
That's right.
So,
wow. I'm old.
We're not old. We're not old. Fun fact, this is the first time.
That's right. They're a brand new team.
There is a brand new team, but we still think of them as such a Christian. Oh my goodness. It's crazy. We also have the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Zack Sabre Jr. against Nigel McGuinness. He is back wrestling it in his home country of England.
So my heart wants Nigel because it'd be like such an epic return moment for him. But I don't know if his body truly can like go a couple more matches. I don't know where he physically is to do a lot of matches. So I gotta go with Zach to retain. I'm worried about Nigel too much to think that he can do a long run.
I know a lot of people.
That's my worry.
I know people. I know people are concerned with Nigel McGuinness, but I would probably go back to some of his recent matches that he had. Obviously, he had a match at Collision last week. I would definitely look at his match from Ring of Honor Final Battle with Lee Moriarty. I would definitely look at last year when he faced off against Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam, and also when he was in that Casino Gauntlet match at Wembley Stadium last year, because to me, he looked like he didn't miss a beat. He didn't look like he didn't miss a beat. I mean, sure, he was a little bit rough around the edges, but it didn't look like he missed a beat. Very happy that he's going to wrestle against Zack Sabre Jr. The kick is, I think Daniel Garcia is going to screw Nigel McGuinness. That's what I think. I would love for Nigel to win, but I think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to retain. And also there is going to be probably a program between Nigel and Daniel Garcia. And I think it's really nice for Daniel Garcia to work under a veteran like Nigel McGuinness, who's been wrestling for the last 2-3 decades. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, we also have the AEW Women's World Championship match. My client, the timeless one, Toni Storm, she will be taking on the fallen goddess, the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Athena.
You know, I can't go against you because I already know who you're going to say, and I can't go against your client. It has to be Toni Storm. It's got to be Toni Storm. That's the end of it.
I'm shocked. I thought you would go the opposite way. I really thought people would go for Athena. I really thought so, but I just want to put it in there because I'm not going to be biased for a bit because she's my client. I kind of said this on the bold predictions we did at All in Texas. The most dangerous you can have Toni Storm is when she has her back against the wall and people are going to be against her. They did that when she faced off against Mercedes Moné. And also with the fact, too, she suffered an injury. That happened on Dynamite, where Athena apologized to Toni Storm on her neck. And it's going to be interesting, too, because Athena is also facing off against Mina Shirakana next Friday at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. So, I mean, I know people want to see Athena in there. I mean, I would love to see Athena be AEW Women's Champion. I mean, if it is time, I would not have a problem with Athena winning it because I think she's great and everything else. But I am going with Toni to retain it. I do think there's a lot more storytelling. And also with the fact, too, the so-called alliance between Athena and Mercedes Moné will fall into place the aftermath. It's going to be very interesting to see because they do have a common enemy. And not just in Toni Storm, but also with Mina Shirakana as well. So, tough challenge. Jeffrey, I know, you've been taking a lot from Ced because Ced's been saying time's up Toni when Mercedes challenged Toni for the AEW Women's title. So I never said that, Dylan. I never said Toni Storm was going to drop her title. I said my client was going to win. But I said if anybody would be okay, it would be Toni. I mean, Athena. I would not have a problem with Athena. But, oh boy. Oh, shit. Ced, be quiet. Ced, be quiet. And plus, you've been saying that for All in Texas, and you didn't even show up the week after Mercedes lost. So, I'm just putting that out there. And speaking of Mercedes, we have a TBS Fatal 4-Way championship match. We have Mercedes Moné, the reigning TBS champion. We also have from CMLL, and I hope I say this right, Pressphone. I think that's her name. I hope I don't enunciate it, but she's from CMLL. Bozilla from Stardom. And my other client, Alex Winsar. Fatal 4-Way match for the TBS title. That's a lie, and you know it. AEW All in Texas did exist.
I mean, I don't see them taking it off of Mercedes yet. I think she retains.
I mean, it would be funny if my client Alex Winsor took the title. That would be hilarious. Especially she is from London, by the way. And also her Mercedes are facing off in an independent match. In a match on the Independency in the UK, which is also hilarious. But damn, as much as I would love for Alex Winsor to win, I do have to go with Mercedes Moné retaining. The only way I can see her drop it is she has to beat Jade's record. Once she beats Jade's record, she can drop that belt. When do we get belt number 10?
We're at 9.
You're at number 9. Yeah, well, no, because sooner or later, even though she's on top of the world, sooner or later, she's going to be unhinged because she's still salty after that loss. She is still salty. Because if you saw Dynamite, it looked like she saw a ghost. So, there will be more of that. We also have a three-way match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Hurt Syndicate, FTR, Bro Dino. If you watched AEW Dynamite with me, it was a banger of a match between FTR and Bro Dino, and unfortunately, it ended in a draw. And per Tony Khan, this was a match that added a triple threat or a three-way match. So both teams will be added to the three-way match. But Victoria, who do you have in this match, and who will walk away with the tag team titles?
I'm thinking, I keep going back and forth. I think they need Bobby to be pulled out, and I think they are going to need to pull him out and do some single stuff, especially with who they're losing to injuries. So I think they're definitely going to take the belts off of him. I don't know. I'm like, we hurt people. Yes, it's my favorite thing. I love them, but I feel like they're going to need to start pulling them out to do singles matches. Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll retain. I don't like the idea of him losing just because I feel like it hurts him. And like their mystique right now they're building. Mm-hmm. But okay, I'm gonna go with them retaining. That was a long-winded way of saying that, but I'm very confused on this one, where they're gonna go.
It's going to be very interesting with this. As much as I love Rodino, I love them, but I have to go with a Hurt Syndicate retaining because, I mean, I'm very curious on where this is going to go. I'm very surprised. I know they did a tournament on this. I know, Dylan. Well, Dylan, to be fair, in regards to New Japan, they had the G1 tournament. So I don't even know who else they had for tag teams because I'm not too familiar in that space. I'm not too familiar with DMLL. But yeah, I'm very surprised that match. I'm surprised they didn't have a tag team because that would have been added more fun to it. But hopefully we do soon. And yeah, Jeffrey, it's a possibility we could see Edge and Christian costing the match because Christian did agree that he would help Edge with his FTR problem. They did agree on it and they handshaked it. So I could see them probably costing FTR. I mean, obviously there have been reports floating around that the Hurt Syndicate didn't even want to drop the belts to FTR, which for me personally, they do not need the belts. They do not need any more accolades. They've already established themselves as one of the best tag teams. They don't need to go for the belts any longer. Same thing with the Young Bucks. I'm going to have the Hurt Syndicate retain it. Who are they going to drop it to? I don't know. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I can't really put my finger around it. But we shall see. I do have them holding it until 2025. The Hurt Syndicate. So we shall see who is there. But if you've been watching my watch-alongs, you know which tag team in particular I have in mind. But that's like 2026. So I have the Hurt Syndicate retaining the belts. We're also going to have the TNT Championship match. Kyle Fletcher, the Aussie Protostar, taking on Himuro Takahashi. So,
I mean, honestly, I just see Fletcher retaining. I don't think they're ready to take it off him yet. I think he's their rising star. I think they need him. I think they need him to be able to pull up and be bigger.
Yeah, indeed. So I don't see Kyle Fletcher dropping that belt anytime soon. A real Australian.
Oh,
God. I know. Look, I'm picking my client Tony Storm. Okay, I'm picking Tony Storm. But oh God, yes. I think there's a few people in the chat that did pick Lola Vice said, but me and Victoria did pick Lola Vice for Heatwave. So we did our bold predictions earlier, but I'm picking the Aussie Protostar Kyle Fletcher. I do see him definitely having a longer reign. and also seeing what he does because he's the new face of TNT. I'm very curious on how that reign is going to look like, and hopefully they don't drop the ball with him because I do see him having potential and being a future top star in AEW. We're also going to have the AEW Unified Championship match, Swerve Strickland taking on Kazuchika Okada.
So I love Swerve, but because we know about the injury, I don't see them putting the belt on him right now.
Yeah, also, I'm going with Okada on this one, retaining, only because Swerve has been battling a serious injury, and there's a possibility he may have to take some time off. So I do see Okada retaining this. But also, I'm just waiting for the next person to take it off the belt. I'm just waiting for Takeshita versus Okada to happen. It's hopefully it's going to happen soon because last year they had a stare down with each other. And then after that, creep Don Callis announced that he will, that Okada was in the Don Callis family. Takeshita had a look at his face and he wasn't too pleased him joining. So there could be a lot of interesting layers to this. And we shall see on that. But I do see Okada versus Takeshita in the future. I mean, as much as I love Swerve, I have to go with Okada. And also the fact, too, Okada is still undefeated, by the way. He has not suffered a loss since he's been at AEW. Waffle House.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Waffle
Touche,
House.
Dylan. Touche.
We have the AEW World Championship match. Hangman Adam Page taking on MJF. And we learned from Dynamite this past weekend, it will be, the belt can be won by either no disqualifications or countouts.
All right. I keep going back and forth on this one. I think they're going to make this one. I think they have to do MJF. I'm going with MJF.
You're going with MJF. Well, no, I'm not gonna hurt you there. MJF. Why? Because he's a new movie star and Happy Gilmore.
Well, no, I'm just thinking again. If you're losing Swerve, you're losing Ospreay. MJF is a solid bet. You know, he's good on the mic. You know, he delivers. You know, he's popular. You could do a really big push with him while Ospreay's out. That's what I'm thinking. So I think if he doesn't win, I think this is going to be a long program between the two of them.
Yeah, because I'm going the opposite. I'm picking Hangman Adam Page because there's no way you're going to let him drop that title after winning at All In Texas. For him to do all that work in that storyline and getting him redemption. And also with the fact too, and as Dylan mentioned, he didn't have to cash in his contract, which is very interesting with that. And he's also the CMLL heavyweight champion. So you can expect Mark Briscoe and Mystico to interfere in this match. And also with the fact too, MJF has an upcoming match with Mystico. So, and it's going to be a mask versus hair match for the title at their 92nd anniversary event for CMLL. So I am going to go with Hangman Adam Page. I do think there is a lot of storytelling with these two, and especially with the fact the alliance that MJF has with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. And it will give them a lot more TV time. And you could expect guys, as I mentioned, you could expect Mystico to come in. You could expect Mark Briscoe to come in. And also many guys who also have a beef with MJF. So I'm picking, as MJF calls him, Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
Hangman. I don't know why he calls him Seabiscuit, but AEW is doing all this for potentially MJF to cross over. Well, I mean, he is technically planning to. I mean, the man was on Happy Gilmore too. He's crossing over, and plus, people in CMLL actually like MJF working there. He's been getting a lot of good praise, along with Hangman Adam Page, who actually spoke in Spanish when they were in Grand Slam, Mexico. So, And our final match. Lights out steel cage match. You got the Death Riders, Gabe Kidd, the Young Bucks, Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the Golden Lovers, consisting of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi.
One, I think it's going to be, I think it's definitely going to be Darby. I think it will be Will Ospreay. I mean, it makes total sense. And two, this is just me. I am done with the Death Riders. I have been done with them. Can we please let them lose and let them go away into a dark corner somewhere and reemerge with a new gimmick, because this just has not worked for me for a while. And yeah, I think you're going to give it to Will in his hometown. He's going out. Let him go out with a big win.
I'm going to have to go. I'm going to go with you, Victoria, on this, because this is Darby Allin's first match back since he returned. I can't afford him to see him losing. Also, with the fact, too, we haven't seen Kenny Omega since All in Texas. That was the last time we saw him. And also, Tanahashi, he's on his retirement tour. He's on his retirement tour and will end in 2026. Obviously, this is Ospreay's home country. I can't see the man losing in his home country.
Yeah, right?
Where does Young Sucks change their clothes? That's a good question. They may have to do it in either the porta potty or in the janitor closet. But I'm going with AEW. Like I said, I can't see Ospreay losing in his home country. We haven't seen Kenny Omega since All in Texas. Darby Allin, this is the first match back since he returned. And also, this could lead to a lot of shenanigans. Don't be shocked if you see the rest of Bullet Club coming in because of Gabe Kidd. They were there on Dynamite. Obviously, you'll probably see the Ops come in because they've had their issues with the Death Riders. Also, we may see Marina Shafir, but I'm also waiting to see Willow Nightingale because, like I said, Willow Nightingale still has a beef with Marina Shafir. So this could lead to a lot of chaos, a lot of mayhem, and it's going to lead to a little shift because we know after this, Ospreay is going to have surgery. Swerve has to take some rest off, and we do have a few guys that do need to take rest. So this is going to be an interesting shift. And seeing where AEW leads next as they hit the road to Toronto for All Out. But interesting to see if Ace Austin pulls up. Yeah, Ace Austin pulls up with the Bullet Club as well. We do see that. But that wraps up our bold predictions for Heatwave and Forbidden Door this weekend. And Victoria, I know you went over the matches, but is there like a few matches in particular that you're excited for both PLEs?
I mean, I'm very excited for Blake Monroe. I think it's going to be a great match as far as the NXT side goes. Plus, both of them are amazing. Juggernauts, they're just amazing, and I think it's going to be fabulous. And I'm really excited to see how that whole thing with the in the dark, the cage match, how that will end up playing with AEW. As much as, like I said, I don't like the Death Riders. I am curious to see how they do that. And also just because of knowing that Will's going in injured, I just want it to look beautiful and amazing and it to be everything everyone wants it to be, but also extremely safe.
Yeah, definitely for NXT, I'm very excited to see the ladies compete. Obviously, Blake Monroe taking on the Juggernaut. That should be a really good match. Also, I'm very curious with JC Jane, what's going to happen next with her if she does retain, because she will be facing on whoever wins that number one contender spot. Is it going to be Lola Vice? Is it going to be Jada Parker? Is it going to be Kalani Jordan? Because this is going to be very interesting to see, and also we'll probably see a lot of TNA people kind of come in and rain on JC Jane's parade. Also for Oba and Javon, because I know said Trick may interfere. I'm going to say this. If Trick interferes, Mike Santana is not far behind from him. Because Mike Santana said this on TNA. He does not care if he has to go to TNA. He does not care if he has to go to NXT to find Trick Williams, because he will find him. And he wants his shot for the TNA World title. Obviously, for the AEW side, I get to see two of my clients, Alex Windsor and Timeless Tony Storm, in big matches. Obviously, Alex Windsor coming back to the UK in our home country. Tony Storm, I mean, I thought Mercedes was her toughest challenge. This is going to be her toughest challenge against Athena. Billy Starks will probably be there at ringside. Her little minion is going to be there. But of course, you know, Tony and Athena are definitely going to deliver. I'm excited to see Nigel McGuinness return in the ring in his home country and seeing him come back. And also this Lights Out match, I think it's going to really change perception when they hit the road to All Out in Toronto. And also they have another residency happening after Forbidden Door, and that's in Philadelphia. So that's also going to be very interesting to see. But is there anything else you want to chat about before we get out of here for SmackDown?
Oh, one more thing for NXT, of course. We will pledge allegiance to Chelsea Green by the end.
Yes. Chelsea Green, Ethan Page. Can't go wrong with that. But this wraps up our Friday edition of WWT. Got over the bold predictions and everything else. And Victoria, where can the people find you?
You can find me on all platforms at Victoria Waco. I do my highs and lows after each SmackDown and Raw the next morning, so you can check those out and talk with me. And then there's some cat content and some pageant content sprinkled in too, because like Natty Neidhart, I am a cat mommy of 3.
Cat mommy of 3, that is cute. Before I share my shout out, we do have to give shout out to a coffee that's in support of Women's Wrestling Talk. You need a coffee that won't powerbomb your sleep schedule? Savarista's got you. It's premium craft decaf and half cap coffee, bold flavors, no jitter, made from high altitude Arpia beans, naturally decaffeinated with no harsh chemicals, bourbon pecan decaf, minted mocha. Yeah, they're good. So make sure to check out the exclusive code. You use the exclusive code for 25% off at sabarista.com. Make sure to use the code 691691793 to get some amazing coffee that we are in support of Women's Wrestling Talk. And the people can find me floating on WWT much as I can, because as I know the rest of the team, it is summer. We want to enjoy our last few weeks of summer. So the team is enjoying that, and hopefully we get the entire crew here soon. But I've been chirping periodically Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for WWT Live. You know, this Sunday, I will be doing a watch along for Forbidden Door, and I think our boss lady will be joining with me. So it'll be very fun too, from London. No wonder Courtney's so hyper about Tony Storm. Well, I love Tony. I mean, I can't go wrong with that. I gotta support my lady. I have to support my lady. But the people can find me watch along this Sunday. I think we may be having a watch along for Heatwave. I'm not sure. Friendly reminder, Monday Night Raw will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It will not be at 8 o'clock. It will be 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Netflix. So just a reminder with programming alert. Also, do not give me any spoilers when it comes to Collision, because Collision will definitely please do not give me any spoilers for AEW Collision. I know it was taped, but do not give me any spoilers. If all the crew pulls up on a WWT Live, I will get carpool. Oh my God, Dylan, you're just on a roll on Friday. You are on a roll. Make sure to follow me at CourtneyNJ11. I have content, not just wrestling content, but like Victoria, I got some pageant content happening. I got some stuff happening in the coming weeks that I will be posting. So feel free to check out that. Also, please make sure to check out ISPW Wrestling, because as I said, yours truly is on the announcing side of independent wrestling. So make sure to check out ISPW. If you're there, Chris Van Vliet will be at the Wrestling Collector's office. So shout out to Tommy Fiera and the team. Make sure to check out Chris because he is a very stand-up guy. I had a chance to meet him 2 years ago, so he is great. So make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling. Also, friendly reminder, because I do Timeless Elite Wednesday, you will not be getting a Timeless Elite Wednesday next week because yours truly will be on site when AEW comes to Philadelphia for their residency. I don't know if you have to deal with Ced. I don't know if he wants to do a CEO Wednesday. I mean, I don't think he wants to do a Timeless Elite Wednesday, but we shall see on that. But I will not be doing a Timeless Elite Wednesday next Wednesday. I will not be there for Wednesday because yours truly will be on site for when AEW comes to Philadelphia. And not only that, for Ring of Honor next week. So it'll be a fun residency, everything else. But shout outs to not just us, but also shout out to the rest of the team here at WWT. Make sure to follow my other siblings, the Kayfabe Podcast, Will, Dion, and Honey. They're doing amazing things. And want to give a shout out to all of you in the chat. Our producer from the future, Dylan, Jeffrey, Cousin Ron, Boza, Maria, all of you. We've even had people in the UK. We also had our Mayor Seth pop in. So thank you guys for enjoying with us, being in the chat, and supporting Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And I will see you back on Sunday.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.